Well, hello. It's us. I'm sure you know who us is, and I'm sure you're all equally now fed up of those compilation best of videos that have kept this advent series going over the past couple of days. Well, I had some domestic engineering issues. If you must know, a broken washing machine and some then resultant plumbing problems, but all fixed now. And today we are back with the culmination of those short films with a video that's become something of a tradition now down the years. Yes, it's that time of year when I look at the images I made between 1st of December last year and 30th of November, this current one, and pick a top three. Well, sort of a top three this year, as you'll find out. And the eventual, oh so prestigious, During the Meanwhilst Image of the Year winner. Now, this past 12 months has been spent really largely photographing the natural world in my garden and my locality. Now, I'm blessed to have a small area of woodland literally at the bottom of my road, affording me countless opportunities to capture the birds there, along with the woodland itself and, the other tiny little things that exist there. It seems that as the years go by and I become less and less able to get out and about, sadly, that my landscape and seascape images become fewer and farther between, which is a shame, really, as it was that genre that was my first photographic love, really, and has given me so many fantastic memories. That's not to say there are none of those images in my shortlist, and I will get onto that in due course. But by and large, instead of photographing those grander vistas, I concentrated on my macro and nature photography, particularly in my garden with a really disappointing summer we've just had. Now, that made me all the more determined on those warm and sunny days we did manage to get to take advantage of them and get out there with my camera. Now, I felt earlier this year that my macro images had started to regress, really, and I'd started to lapse back into just taking record shots and obsessing over technical perfection. Not that I achieve it, mind, but it took a great deal of concentration and effort to get my macro storytelling mojo back, I can tell you. A new wider angle macro lens in the shape of my Fujifilm 30mm did help in this regard, as I increased my macro lens options to 3 lenses and 2 cameras. I also bought a new macro focusing rail and renewed my Helicon focus license for those focus bracketed and stacked shots. I also got one of those Raynox magnifiers. Really, really good buy, that. I really wanted this autumn to try to get to grips with woodland photography, but let's just say that didn't happen for one reason or another. So I was left to marvel really at the images Alan Coles makes. And if you haven't, then check out his Instagram. There's a link down below to see woodland photography at its very finest, really. 2024 also saw massive developments and enhancements to photo editing software, with Lightroom masking becoming a real game changer. My editing skills, if you've seen any of my recent videos, remain pretty rudimentary, though. I think I only utilise about 10% of Lightroom's potential, and even less when it comes to Photoshop. As I said, if you've seen any of my editing videos, then you know exactly how poor really my skills are. I mentioned at the start of this video how much landscape and seascape photography still means to me. And this image I made at the coast really underlines this. I made my coastal trips mainly after visits to hospital for pre-treatment blood tests. Now, these were and still are incredibly stressful times, and just getting there really helped me to forget about life and cancer for a while. With this image, although it didn't quite make the cut this year, I can vividly recall the frustration and humour at chasing that piece of driftwood as the retreating tide dragged it further and further out to sea until it eventually got wedged long enough for me to get this shot. Now, when I shortlist and choose my favourite images, I'm not looking for pure technical perfection. I'd have a short list of 3 or 4 if that were the case. No, I look more for how an image makes me feel and how excited I was to capture it at the time. I like to look for the story behind the image, maybe the story of my day, like those hospital visits, or the story, of the picture itself. Anyway, let's get into the images, and here are my 12 shortlisted photographs this year. Sit back, marvel and enjoy. No, don't. Just watch them. Anyway, that's my shortlist. And without any more blathering or flim-flam, here's this year's podium. In third place, I've chosen this image of a rocky outcrop at Bracelet Bay in Mumbles. Now, I shot this with my ancient, in digital terms, Nikon D700 and 17-35 wide-angle zoom. And it was quite a challenge. Going back to shooting long exposures with a DSLR was quite the shock. So I needed to rework my workflow and completely rethink how to go about getting an image from a DSLR with a 10-stop filter stuck on the front of it. But I think it was well worth the effort, and when I'm not coming back to shooting DSLRs full time, this was certainly a fun thing to do. Now, a bit of a cheat here, as there's a joint third place image this year, and it's this one of a hoverfly on a Cosmos in my garden. It's another image shot with a D700, but this time with the GOAT, the 105mm macro, along with a Raynox DCR 250 macro filter. Now, this was not an easy image to make, as the Raynox, for all its close-up goodness, renders an incredibly thin depth of field. So finding an aperture and a focal point to get maximum sharpness throughout was a real challenge. Focus bracketing wasn't an option here, as the fly wouldn't keep still long enough to get a series of similar enough images. So this is a single shot capture. That and the fact I think it's an absolutely beautiful image, well, to my eye anyway, means it's secured that joint third place spot. The runner-up spot this year goes to a still life image. What a surprise. I spotted this dandelion growing in my front garden and thought that it would make for a reasonably nice image. But as I was walking around to the back door, The seeds started to dislodge in the wind one by one until I was just left with around, I don't know, 13, 14, 15 by the time I got indoors. Anyway, I popped the dandelion into a small vase, placed it against a window, lit it with a warm light, and shot 8 focus bracketed images. Now, if you saw the video of me editing it earlier this month, there's a link above. Then you'll know the ins and outs of making it. For all its staged, if you like, still life setup, I really love the image, as my health sadly deteriorates, and it has been quite bad, I can tell you, in the latter part of this year. I can see me making more and more of these sorts of images. Not ideal, I know, but if they keep me taking photographs, then all good, yeah. Anyway, before I announce the winner, here are some previous winners of this most prestigious award. Here we go. Place your bets. What do you think? The winner of the 2024 During the Meanwhilst image of the year is a picture of a fly inside a flower. I know. Are you underwhelmed? Are you underwhelmed at this choice of a technically incompetent, largely soft image? Well, I wouldn't be surprised if you are, but let me explain exactly why it won this year. Right, it was a hot, sunny August day. Yes, we did have just the one this year, and I was sat in my garden, camera in hand, ready to catch anything really that piqued my interest. I watched this sawfly, I think it is, for around 10 minutes as it flew in and out of a nearby clematis gathering nectar, and I was just spellbound really by its determination to get food, and just survive another day. It was dodging a nearby cobweb on its way in and out, and I was hoping that it wouldn't get caught, and to my relief, not necessarily the spiders, it didn't. Anyway, photographing the tiny fly against what then looked like huge spikes ready to impale it after it, dodged the dangers of the spider's web, really gave me an appreciation of its daily struggles, just to survive, really. I shot a few images of it feeding away, and this one, well, obviously, as it's won this year, was my favourite. I think it perfectly encapsulates what I wanted to do with my macro photography this year, and that was moving away from those mundane record shots that I said at the start of the video I'd fallen into, and getting, storytelling images that evoke memories. And this one does that for me anyway, in spades. Right then, that's it for today, and this year's best of images, best of, I don't know, whatever. Anyway, do you agree? Do you agree with my choice? Would you have picked something else? Would you have just given up and chucked your camera away? I don't know. Let me know in the comments what your choice for either the top 3 or just image of the year is. Okay. Text message it. Pain in the backside. Right. Okay then. See you all tomorrow for a completely different type of video. Ta-ra.